Have you ever looked at your kid's school experience and just felt a disconnect? Like what they're learning isn't quite lining up with the world they're about to enter? If you've ever worried that school is preparing our children for a world that doesn't really exist anymore, well, you've come to the right place. It's this nagging feeling, isn't it? You see them bringing home the same kind of homework, stressing about the same kind of tests you did, all while the world outside has just completely transformed. It really does feel like our schools are running on an outdated operating system in a high-speed digital world. And you know what? That feeling is dead on. The fundamental model for our education system is over 100 years old. A century. It was designed for a totally different time, with a totally different purpose in mind. And that, right there, is the root of the problem we're all wrestling with. So let's break that down. This 100-year-old classroom, it was never built to teach kids things like creativity, or how to bounce back from failure, or how to think critically. Nope. It was built for standardization and, well, obedience, which was perfect for churning out factory workers in the industrial age, but it's a massive roadblock for us now. Think about it like this. The main goal of this system was to create a predictable, compliant workforce. It was all about making sure students could repeat facts on demand. It was never, ever about empowering them to tackle messy, complex, real-world problems. And that massive mismatch is exactly why so many kids today feel bored, disengaged, and totally unprepared. Okay, so if it's so obviously outdated, why can't we just update it? Well, it's because the whole system is caught in this massive gridlock. There are 4 key groups, and they're all kind of stuck. And if we're going to find a solution, we first have to understand why everyone is frozen. First up, you've got the schools themselves. They're often these huge institutions that are weighed down by something called institutional inertia. The best way to picture it is like a giant cargo ship. Even if the captain wants to make a sharp turn, that ship is going to keep moving straight for a long, long time. It's just too big, too slow, and tangled up in red tape. Then you have the teachers. And look, so many of them are absolutely brilliant and would love to innovate, but they are trapped in pure survival mode. They're just drowning in the day-to-day pressure of getting through the curriculum and prepping for standardized tests. There is literally no time or energy left over to dream up a new way of doing things. And what about the students? They're on the front lines, feeling the system's problems more than anyone. But they're still kids. They're still figuring things out, still finding their voice. And they don't yet have the power or the tools to really challenge the structure they're in. They know something's wrong, but they're not in a position to lead the charge. So, let's recap. If the schools are too slow to turn, the teachers are too buried to build, and the students are still finding their power, who's left? Who has the motivation, the outside perspective, and the power to actually break this gridlock? It's you, the parents. In this whole mess, parents are the only group with that perfect mix of deep personal investment in the outcome and the freedom of an outsider's perspective. You are the only logical catalyst for real, meaningful change. And this isn't about pointing fingers or laying blame, it's just simple logic. When every other piece of the puzzle is locked down, the change has to come from the one group that sees the whole picture and cares more than anyone about the future, the parents. Okay, I know what you're thinking. That's a huge task. How do I even start without getting stuck in endless, frustrating PTA meetings? Well, that's where we get to the action plan. This is a real playbook for making a quantum leap, a jump to a totally new way of thinking about school. So here it is, the 5-step playbook. And we're going to walk through each one. It all starts with something super simple, changing the question you ask your kids after school. From there, it's about organizing, finding your allies inside the school, building new learning opportunities, and maybe most importantly, changing the culture in your own home. All right, step 1. This is so simple, but it is a total game changer. See, schools give us what we ask for, and for decades we've been asking, what grade did you get? But what if we started asking a different question, a better question, one that signals that we value trying hard and learning from mistakes more than we value a perfect score? That one little shift changes everything. Step 2 is where you go from complaining to creating. You get a group of forward-thinking parents together, the entrepreneurs, the coders, the artists in your community, and you connect with some education experts. Together, you actually build a ready-to-go pilot project, and you hand it to the school. This completely takes away their biggest excuse: we just don't have the time. Next, you need to find your allies on the inside. I promise you, in every single school, there are a handful of amazing, innovative teachers. We call them the Trojans. They want a better way, but they're afraid to stick their necks out. As a united group of parents, you can give them the support, the air cover they need to try new things. Okay, steps 4 and 5 are all about hacking the system from the outside in. You create what are called parallel learning labs. Think after-school clubs focused on stuff that actually matters, like coding or starting a small business. And then at home, you have to change the conversation. Stop telling your kids to just suck it up. Acknowledge that the system is flawed, validate how they feel, and empower them to beat the game while building the real skills they'll need. Now, to get a whole community of parents pulling in the same direction, you need a powerful, unified message. And that's where this comes in. The Quantum Education Manifest. Think of it as a declaration of independence from the old system, a rallying cry you can share to build a movement. The manifest kicks off by drawing a line in the sand. It basically says, the waiting is over. It's a powerful commitment to stop wasting our energy trying to prop up a broken system and start putting all of that energy into building the new one. This right here is the heart of the shift. It's about changing the definition of a good student. We're moving the goalposts away from just memorizing facts for a test and towards the skills that will actually help our kids thrive in the real world. This is the promise to those Trojans we talked about. It's a public pledge that says, go for it, try something new, and if you fail, we've got your back. It gives teachers the freedom to experiment without fear, which is where all true innovation comes from. And this final point completely flips the script on the whole relationship. Parents are no longer just passive customers who drop their kids off every morning. No, we are active, essential partners who are here to help co-create the future of learning. So look, this whole revolution, it doesn't start with some big top-down government program. It doesn't start with a bang. It starts quietly. It starts with a choice made by a small group of committed parents who decide they're done accepting the way things are. So, the playbook is right here. The moment is right now. The only real question left is the one on the screen. What is going to be your first, small, achievable step to bring this learning revolution to your kids and to your community?